It's Hannah with the Heart Foundation. I am so thrilled to come on here today and tell you we're going to be talking with comedian and podcast host Chris Fairbanks. Chris is one of the hosts of one of my favorite podcasts ever. It's called Do You Need a Ride? He also is an absolutely hilarious comedian. He has a special that you can find on YouTube. It's called Rescue Cactus. I absolutely love it. I'm so looking forward to today's conversation. We're going to talk about heart health. We're going to talk about Chris himself has some stories about heart disease, and we're just going to hang out for a few minutes. So thank you guys so much for jumping on here and for joining me. My name is Hannah. I'm with the Heart Foundation. For over 25 years, we have been advocating for the education, early detection, and prevention of heart disease, which is the #1 cause of death for both women and men in the United States. We are very proud to support groundbreaking research happening at Cedars-Sinai at Smith Heart Institute under the direction of world-renowned cardiologist Dr. P.K. Shaw. And I don't know if you guys know, earlier this year, Cedars-Sinai was named one of the top 3 hospitals for cardiology in the entire country. So we are very proud to be supporting incredible research happening there. And we're going to get Chris on here. Just so you guys know, as the same with all of our live conversations that we have the chat enabled as a fundraiser. So you guys are able to support us in the bottom of this live. If you are not able to support us in this way, we absolutely love when you guys just interact with us and share our content and ask questions in the comments. It all helps us spread awareness of heart disease. So let's get Chris in here. Let's see. I'm hitting accept. Chris, can you type in the comments? Are you seeing anything? Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. Chris, were you sweating?
Oh, yeah. I already have to change. I'm already drenched with sweat.
I had even told you it's so easy. Don't worry about it. It's not.
No, that was just a glitch. I don't think that was our fault at all.
Great. Great. I know. I was going to say, I got you all comfortable. And then, of course, there's a hiccup, of course.
No, I think everyone's used to it. How are
Thanks
you?
so much. I'm great. How are you?
I'm terrific. Yeah.
I'm so thrilled that you are on here speaking with me today. It's truly is such a treat for me. You have no idea.
Oh, thanks so much, Hannah. Thanks.
Yeah, I absolutely am a huge fan of Do You Need a Ride? I listen every single week. I've already listened to this week's episode, listened to it yesterday. So I welcome you guys into my Monday morning walk every week. It's my dogs and you guys. So I'm a total fan.
Thank you. Do the dogs listen? Because I've been wanting to get, we'd want to branch out into animal, fandom.
I understand. Yeah. You know, I'm pretty selfish. I keep the earpods right. And, I keep it all to myself.
Yeah.
But, yeah, branch into the animal kingdom a little bit. There you go. So one thing that I also have to tell you, so I have watched Rescue Cactus before. Yeah. And love, have watched it multiple times, makes me laugh so hard. And I don't even remember specifically which joke it was specifically, or it could have been somewhere, in the lead up to it, from one joke to another joke to another joke. But there are a couple times when the only way I can describe it, you have this kind of, it's almost like train of thought joke telling, where you are saying something, cutting yourself off, but then you're up here and you go down here and this, and I swear it's like you do it all in one breath almost, but in a way to where I am totally following along. And I just am thinking, I don't know if anyone else's brain works this way, but this is how my brain works when I'm arguing with myself. And I love it. It's my favorite.
I really appreciate it. It's funny, in watching it when we were editing it, I was surprised at how many sentences I don't finish. I'm like, I don't even know that I can always follow myself. I'm like, what am I doing right there? I just changed the subject, but it's unavoidable. It's a style that just is the way I talk. So
I absolutely love it. It totally is enjoyable to me, and I also really loved you popping up in the audience.
Oh, thanks. I had to fight for that. We have many shots of me in the audience as a boom operator. I just wanted it to be real subtle, so
Hmm.
you pause it to make sure it was me.
Oh,
And
it's hilarious.
yeah, thank you. I'm glad we ended up putting it in there because people said they like that.
Yeah.
I had that idea years ago with my premium blend years and years ago. I had to go back the next day because D.L. Hughley, the host, said Chris Fairchild, I think. And
Yeah.
someone got on stage and
There's nothing that makes you feel better than when the host pronounces your name wrong. Or
yeah,
they'll
but
give
I
you the
just
wrong name.
like close enough. And I just walked out there and they were like, no. So I did my set and it went well, but I had to go back the next day and just reshoot walking out to the mic so
Yeah.
he could say my name correctly. And that's when I had the idea because they had a row of people in the front to be the backs of heads. And I put my watch on the opposite wrist and my hair was a little bigger. If you're really paying attention, you could see my hair shrink and my watch jump to the other wrist. But that's when I wanted to be in the audience and they thought it was a funny idea, but then someone came out and said, no, we're not going to hold a mirror up to the editing of the show, which I understand. So I'm glad I got to finally do it.
No, it lands so great. It's
Oh,
so fun. Oh my gosh, I
thank you.
absolutely
Thank
loved
you.
it. So
Thanks.
okay, you just said like it's inevitable. It's just your pattern of speech. You didn't even realize how many times you cut yourself off. I mean, do you basically when you go up to do a set, do you have it very clearly mapped out what you're going to do, or do you have like your bullet points? You know the story you're trying to tell, and you're just along for the ride, and you hope to hit
Yeah,
it. How
I've
does
done
it
it
work?
enough now to where I am consistent enough with it, but that is the risk with when you're keep it that loose that there's a chance things don't land.
Right.
So I have always given myself a little added pressure, especially in recent years, to have everything written out, like have enough material where I say it verbatim.
Right.
Uh, and a lot of those mess ups and flubbing on words that turn into a joke, I do it all the time. So if you see me a second time, you're like, oh, he was lying. I thought that was improv, but that's just kind of my material kind of comes out of improv. And then I'm like, well, that worked well. I can recreate that mistake that I made with myself. It's kind of like crowd work, but it's my own working with my own brain, if that makes any sense.
It definitely makes sense. No,
I'm
absolutely.
heckling myself. Yeah, I don't know why I created quite an obstacle for myself. I don't.
No, I
Too
totally get
late.
that. Do you feel like it's the same sort of I mean, obviously you're a comedian and your podcast is you guys interviewing other comics. Do you find that it's the same sort of approach that you take when podcasting, where it's like you know you're certain things that you want to talk about, and you know something that's maybe worked in the past, but now
Yeah,
you're dealing with basically a whole new partner
yeah.
slash audience every
When
single time.
when I first met Karen and immediately started talking to her about wanting to podcast with her, because we had mutual friends that said you should do a podcast with Karen. This was 8, 9 years ago, and then I finally. Her ex-husband worked for a show. He was a camera operator on a show I was working on, and we went to their house, and I'm like, "Hey, do you want to do a podcast?" She's like, "Sure." And then I just knew in talking with her that she, even if I'm not making sense and I'm going down some bizarre direction, she will yes and that and go with me on that. A lot of people, when you're in conversations, it's hard to find someone that is willing to go with your brain in that way. She's just a good master communicator, I think. And
I think you guys
uh,
are just have a great dynamic relationship. You know what I mean? You both direct each other in different directions, but you're always both along for the ride. It truly is so fun to be a listener. And I do have to ask you, are you guys going to be back in the car anytime soon?
that is the question that I just because COVID is still around and we both have been safe this whole time,
Mm-hmm.
the chance of getting someone sick in an enclosed space like a car,
Yeah.
Just the person recording in the back seat. If we have Stephen back there as our engineer again, which I believe we will. It's just, we're not quite there yet, but man, I want to be in the car again. Just because there's so many conversations are often dictated by what we're driving by and seeing, and you get to describe that. You can hear things, you can hear the actual car, traffic.
Right.
In the back.
And you're in Los Angeles. Like there is, you know, no small amount of things to look at or talk about. There's always something odd happening. There's always someone screaming at someone or someone wearing something crazy, or it's a fun place to have a podcast.
Yeah,
totally.
It's easier in the car for sure. Now we're just in our Zoom rooms, and I'm just like, well, there's not a lot going on in here. So I think once we're back in the car, there will never be a conversational lull.
Yeah.
That we've had all this practice without any stimulus, I think we'll be even better. So I can't wait to be back in the car, honestly.
Yeah. I'm excited for it too. I think that's so awesome. So as you know, we have been spreading awareness of heart disease. That's what we do at the Heart Foundation. We've been doing it for over 25 years. And one of the crazy things about heart disease is that it seems that we all know someone, right? Like we either know someone who has had a heart attack or gone into cardiac arrest, or has high cholesterol, or is on blood pressure meds, something.
Yeah.
And it is a very, it's a very kind of sad and devastating fact that we all know somebody. And so we are trying to change the game in that. But I do know that you yourself have a couple stories. I know you have specifically a CPR story that is like crazy.
Yeah, I think my whole family is still suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. It was because with heart disease or with something like sudden cardiac arrest, you'd think there'd be warning signs. And my brother-in-law is seemingly one of the healthiest people I know. He's always been in shape. He's an active fireman. He rides his bike to work, and he, the night after Christmas, we went to bed, and within 15 minutes he passed away. And he was what I deem to be very gone. And you know, he was cold and lifeless. And I woke up my nephew, who's about to be in the academy to be a fireman himself, and I watched my nephew bring his dad back. It was 12 minutes of him.
Wow.
I mean, not to be graphic, but I could hear ribs breaking. He kept going and brought him, I believe, to AFib. And then the police department in Missoula, Montana also have a pit crew. They are EMTs. I didn't even notice they were policemen with guns. They worked with Alex. They let him continue CPR, and then they paddled him, and they wheeled him out, and he said, "Okay, see you guys at the hospital." He was just back to life. And I think that's very rare. And I think it was after 53 attempts at saving people with this pit crew, this was their first save. I didn't realize how seldom CPR works. It's just like a last ditch effort, and it worked. And now Mike, my brother-in-law, has a pacemaker defibrillator. So if it happens again, it'll just feel got kicked by a horse, I believe, and so he's prepared for that happening. And the pacemaker, of course, keeps his heart going. But there was no indication that he wasn't 100% healthy. It was just a unnoticed. He then admitted he had been tired a lot over the past few months, and we found out his heart was only working at a 20% capacity, maybe, or working that hard. That maybe is a number I made up, but 20% sounds.
Give or take.
Let's go with it. Or it was 80. I know 20's in there. Something.
It was not working at full capacity.
Yes, not in half. Let's say that. And
sorry, how old was he when this happened?
55.
Young.
53.
Right.
I should know this.
No.
Yeah, but he's great, and Alex saved his dad's life. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever witnessed.
I'm so glad that you described him before you described what happened to him, because so often heart disease is thought of as something that's reserved for people who are elderly or lead stagnant lifestyles, or they're out of shape. And we're talking about someone who's none of those things.
Who doesn't drink, who doesn't smoke, who is very active, who is a good-looking, in shape guy that I'm like, man, I wish I was more physically like Mike. He's tall. He's got,
right.
But it's just something that happened, and it was.
I'm so happy that your nephew had the awareness and had the training for him to like at least have that level of awareness of springing into action, because I think so many people, it's something like 70%, approximately 70%. And again, just like you, I'm not making it up. Approximately 70% of Americans don't feel confident in their ability to perform CPR.
That was the one. I feel so embarrassed, but I have to admit it. I said, I'm immediately going to learn CPR, and I still haven't done it. It's probably not going to come up here in my apartment. I give it to myself.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is just another reason for you to learn it. CPR, when it's performed really quickly and correctly, can double or triple a person's chance of surviving.
Yeah.
So you witnessed it. Now you got to learn it.
I will. I promise.
Yeah.
At least before Christmas again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start off Christmas Eve, make a toast and say, in your honor, I've learned CPR.
Yeah, everyone should pat me on the back. It's my gift to you all.
No, the whole family needs to learn it.
Yes, I know. We must, because it's
actually
amazing.
Amazing that we're heading in this direction, because I actually have a few trivia questions I'm going to ask you.
Okay. Oh boy.
Don't get too scared. They're not too bad. And if you get it wrong, it's all right. We're all learning here. It's not a big deal.
Is there any math or literature? What are the categories? I'll just wait. Go ahead now.
There's only one category.
Okay.
All right. Of these two diseases, which claims more lives every year? Cancer or heart disease?
Heart disease. And it is the #1 killer of firemen specifically.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I did not know that, but it actually makes sense.
During trivia, I like to amend each answer with a little extra knowledge, like
a little extra something in there.
Yeah. If I ever make it on Jeopardy, that's my plan.
I love that. Question 2, true or false? Approximately 80% of cardiovascular diseases are preventable by simple lifestyle choices.
I would think that that's true.
That is true.
Okay, good.
That is true. That was right. So that's kind of crazy. It's the #1 cause of death for women and men.
Yeah.
Cardiovascular disease is preventable just by making lifestyle choices.
Yeah. The only reason I thought that maybe that wasn't the case is because, like I said before, Mike was doing nothing wrong. He was a physical specimen. So sometimes also it's just a random
Yeah, if it's something that you don't know to look for it, or you don't know what some symptoms might be to keep your eyes open for, like fatigue, like he was saying, that is 100% a symptom of an issue with your heart.
Yeah.
And actually the person who inspired the creation of the Heart Foundation 27 years ago was only 35 years old, and again, young, seemingly healthy, in shape, didn't drink, didn't smoke, and had a heart attack while he was playing basketball. And so that's why his friends and his family and his community created the foundation, because it was like, we didn't even know we should be worried about this.
Yeah.
And so that's what our whole mission is, to just spread awareness, just like your brother-in-law had no idea to look for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is the very first thing that you should do if someone is having a heart attack?
I'll tell you what you shouldn't do in trying to get them off the bed to do better CPR. You should not drop them on the floor, which is what we did. But he was fine.
He was okay.
Rule
That's
that
good
out.
that you knew. That's good that you knew to get him off the bed. That's great.
Yeah, Alex was doing CPR, and it was all of a sudden the bounciest mattress ever, and it way more efficient once we got him on the floor.
Yeah.
We just didn't realize Mike's a big guy, and I'm not strong enough, so I need to learn CPR and maybe start going to the gym. But yeah, I think put him on a hard surface. Is that correct?
Call 911.
Oh, well, we did that. I mean, that, yeah. Everyone. We were all.
That happened so quickly. You didn't even think about it.
Yeah, the dispatcher was on duty. It's like, well, I got 5 calls. The good news is they're all about the same person.
Perfect. We're on our way, guys. We've got it.
Yeah.
This one, I think that you will know. What song do you sing when you're administering CPR to somebody and you want to stay on beat?
Staying alive. Staying alive.
Absolutely. Perfect.
Right. By the beat.
Right. That's right.
Yes.
And that one is seemingly a no-brainer as well, but a lot of people don't know that, surprisingly.
Also on the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. See, I like to add.
The classic movie.
It's B-side, song number 4, B-side, Saturday Night Fever, starring John Travolta. Anyway, that song.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
And then this is your very last one.
Okay.
Which of these things has not been linked with a lower risk of heart disease? Owning a dog, having good oral health, like your teeth and your gums, or driving a Honda Civic?
Oh, you're kidding me. I would say the Honda Civic.
You're right.
Okay. What's the dog? Dog one would be my choice.
Wouldn't that be amazing though? If like people who drive Honda Civics have a lower risk. Like I'm trading my car and that's it.
Yeah, something about there's like a glitch in a computer and it sends a steady electronic pulse.
Keeps your blood pressure chill. Like lowers your sodium levels. Everything is good. All from the Honda Civic. No.
Yeah. Well, I have a Honda Accord, and I think it's why I've never had a cavity.
Oh.
I've
never had a cavity?
Nothing to base it in that. I saw it as an opportunity to brag because you mentioned something about tooth care.
That is a proper thing to brag about. Never having a cavity. My gosh.
It was the Swish Swash program at my elementary school. Everyone that went to Paxton Elementary has never had a cavity. I've said that on the podcast. I know you've heard it. Okay. I often brag about it.
It's still good.
It's just luck. It's just luck.
Chris, I'm so thrilled that you came on here with me today. And I know that you're actually about to go record, but I also wanted to say I can't wait to see you at our annual golf tournament in November.
I got to start training. My team won the last tournament I was in, so I want to win again. I didn't know how competitive I was. That's why I always do solo person sports, skateboarding and snowboarding and golf. Actually, I'm very competitive, it turns out. So,
yeah. It like awakens something in you. Suddenly you're just going to be bloodthirsty on the golf course.
Yeah. This weird inner rugby player emerges. Yeah, very, very competitive. But I'm very excited, and I want to do well, so I got to start hitting the driving range.
It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. I'm so thrilled that you're going to join us there. I can't wait to meet you in person. It's going to be so great. And thank you again for joining me for this live and for just helping us spread some awareness to some of your followers and to making some of our followers laugh. It's so great.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I got in a couple jokes. By the way, did I get 100% on the trivia?
The only one that you didn't, but you did know was call 911, but you knew that already.
Oh, right.
So yes, 100%.
Yeah, I had to make the hilarious joke about don't drop people. But yeah, of course, call 911.
Of course, call 911. But yes, 100%.
Yeah.
A+.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you so soon.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you.
Awesome. You guys, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Hannah with the Heart Foundation. You're never too young. It's never too late to start living a more heart-healthy lifestyle. Bye, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.